Look at these tomato plants. It's time to get these plants into the ground over there. Come with me. Look at all these tomato plants. These are my starts that I began as seeds and transplanted them into these cups. Oh, it's been several weeks, but it's time to get them out and placed in my garden. I've got to separate my determinants from my indeterminates. And I've got a lot of determinants here that I started, probably more than I need. But my indeterminates need to go into the ground. My determinants I'm going to grow in a pot. So I'll show you how I do this, how I plant my tomato plants out, and what I've done to my garden to keep the weeds away this year. So let's get started. Well, as you can see, I'm using this weed cloth in my garden this year, and it will keep the weeds down for me. I'm going to space my tomatoes about 3 to 4 feet apart. Tomato plants, indeterminate tomato plants, can get very large. And we gardeners are prone to place them too close together. So I've learned that a wider spacing is helpful, and that's about what I like right there. So these are Harvest Moon varieties. We're going to plant them right through that weed cloth. I also have some Edox. Edox is a variety that I love. It's one of my favorite varieties of all. Wow, that's a big one. And I'm going to plant 6 of these Edox. And I'm going to plant them in a very specific manner because I'll be training them up a string trellis. I'll have a string, and that'll be a later video. I actually already have a video on how to do that, but I'm going to do it again this year. And I'm thinking these will work fine right here. My next variety is an Amish paste. This is also an indeterminate, so it can be grown in a similar manner as these Edox tomatoes, and trained up a string. So we'll place these. I also had some Cherokee purples that I found at my local garden center. I'm going to put one of those over here. Cherokee purple. It's one of my favorite tomatoes. I think I'll put another one in a pot. All right, let's get these in the ground. I'll show you how I'm going to do it. All right, the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to mark my spot, and I'm going to use a box cutter to cut an X in the cloth here. Now, some people have said you can use a blowtorch and make a nice ring in this in here that won't it won't fray, it won't split, it'll last longer. But I don't have a blowtorch, so I'm going to just use this box cutter. You can see the weeds that are coming up after I flame weeded in here. They're all blanched. Yeah, they're not doing real great, and that's the plan. This weed cloth will keep these weeds suppressed. Now my soil's pretty good, but as I dig a hole here, let me grab my my trowel. As I dig a hole here for this plant, I'm going to amend the soil anyway with a low dose all-purpose fertilizer, and I'm going to use this one here from IV Organics. IV Organics 333 all-purpose fertilizer, and I like their products. And if you'd like to get 10% off of any IV Organics product, just use my code Gumbo10 and you will get a discount. I'm going to mix some of this into the soil here. You can see the weeds beneath the surface are still quite alive, even after I flame weeded this garden. But they will die because of this weed cloth. I'm just going to put a little bit, a little handful, mix it into the soil. That's a nice slow release. I will be fertilizing these plants with liquid fish emulsion throughout the season. Come on now, come out of there. And it's hard to over fertilize with low dose liquid fish emulsion, but it does so much good for your plants. Look at there, that's my first plant in the ground in my garden for this season. Now I will have to label these. I'm going to leave the cups out here. Hopefully they don't blow away, and then I can make up some labels and put them in. Now this weed cloth is permeable. Water will go through it, but even if it wasn't, water will get through these cuts that I've made here, and this plant will be well irrigated. You could plant a tomato plant deeper than you think. I could take this branch off here, plant it all the way up to there, and that would encourage more root growth. Again, we just cut an X. You can see there's a lot of organic material down here. Lots of weeds left over. All this weed stuff will rot down and compost here in place because it will be covered from the sun. This is good soil in my garden. I've had my soil tested multiple times, and it always comes back pretty good. That's why I can grow such good weeds. All right, so we're gonna dig us a hole, amend that soil with some IV Organics 333 all-purpose. Gonna blend it in there. This variety, Harvest Moon, I've never grown it before. Somebody asked me, I'm also growing a variety called Jolene. And apparently there's a song about Jolene. I don't know her, I don't know the song. But somebody mentioned it. But there is a song called Harvest Moon. And my wife and I both like that song. So whenever I'm planting these tomatoes or dealing with them at all, that's what I'm thinking about, is that song. Specifically, what is it? Neil... Oh, who sang the best version of it? Neil Young? I think it's the Neil Young version I'm thinking of. All right. There we go. Well, look at that. That's my single seed challenge. This is an Isis candy tomato. I think I got this seed from Oxheart Gardening. Rachel over there sent me some seeds a couple years ago, and that's one of them, I believe. Look at that. That's pretty fun, huh? One seed was put in here. I've got two others that didn't germinate. But there it is. There's my update. It's been 10 years. My garden is 10 years old, and I'm still finding rocks. I've been trying to remove those over the years. But this spring marks the 10th anniversary of this garden bed, these raised beds. 10 years old. Me and my son Samuel worked to put these bricks down and to fill it with soil, and he helped me back then. He was just a little kid, pencil neck, and yeah, we had fun putting this garden in. But yeah, 10 years old. There's been a lot of crops coming and going in here in 10 years. I am in a circumstance where my health has taken somewhat of a downturn, and I'm on a new diet, and I'm on medication that I've never had before. And I can tell you, I have no energy. It's zapping me of all my strength. Just doing this. Planting tomatoes. Man, I gotta go in and rest. That's how old I am. That's how this medication's hitting me, man. So I encourage you, stay on top of your health, keep healthy, and if you have good health, be thankful to God for that. And if you're in poor health, go get help. That's what I've done. I've gone and got some help because I've got a bit of a blood pressure issue and some other things going on. But you know, I'm grateful for medication that will help set things right. But man, it sure is tough. I got no energy. Oh, I'll get it back. It's just a matter of adjusting and getting used to the new lifestyle. But planting tomatoes, you never thought it would be that hard, huh? But It's been kind of energy zapping here. All right, this is a Cherokee Purple, one of my favorite tomatoes. I've got 2 of these. And I didn't start the seeds for this one. This one I got at my local grocery store. There we go. When planting your tomatoes, you can take one like this guy. It's really tall. You can take these off and plant it up to there if you want to, or not. This is a vining type, indeterminate, and it'll keep growing really tall. So I want this to be, well, about as tall as me, and I'm going to trim it as it goes to have 12 leaf clusters, and that's all. And it will grow fruit on these big trusses. I've seen guys fertilize their tomato plants by digging a hole and putting things down in there like an egg, or I think James, is it Prigioni? He did a whole can of sardines, you know, like the Native American practice of putting a fish in the hole when you plant something. Well, you could do that if you want. I'm just using this fertilizer. But any of those methods work, and tomatoes are pretty easy to grow. So thanks for joining me today on Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. We didn't do much. We planted some tomatoes, but I got tomatoes in the ground now, and that makes me happy. Hey, happy gardening to you, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.